Ladies and gentlemen, what a great way to start. Technical difficulties right off the bat. Risk It for the Biscuit, episode 11. It's Monday. We're back at it. Um, another episode, baby. Another week. So it's already April. What? Today's April 3rd. And we are back at it. Another episode without a co host. Come on. Potential co-host is swamped with school at the moment, so we have continued to prolong that, but it's all good. We're still here. We're still at it. We are still making it happen. Episode 11. So it's almost 3 months of this podcast. And so it's awesome. We have, as always, a couple things to talk about today. Couple things to discuss, a couple topics, and so let's hop into it. With it being April, this is a very exciting time. Of course, UConn's playing for the national championship tonight. Go Huskies! Easy dub. I think we blow out San Diego State by 20 at least. But anyway, that's besides the point. It's April, and so that means we just got a month left of school, man. 4 weeks. That's all we got. 4 weeks, and ideally, I will never step foot in a classroom again. And I could cry. I could cry real tears of joy because it's over. All this pain and suffering is over, and we can start life. You know what I mean? Everyone I talk to, they're like, "Oh no, just enjoy this time in school, blah blah blah." But when I was in high school, people told me the same thing. They said, "Enjoy high school. You're gonna wish you back in high school." I have yet to live a day where I was like, you know what, I wish I was back in high school. So I feel the same way about college. I am ready to be done. It's been a good experience. Plus, kind of overall, I would say. But I am ready to be done. And so, with it being April, it's very exciting. We're very close. Fourth quarter stretch, you know what I mean? We just got to clutch it up and make it happen. So, I am excited for that. It's going to be glorious. And with it being April and school coming to a close, of course, the article that I see from last week, and besides this article, a lot of other things going on in the world, which are kind of, I guess, concerning, or not concerning, but it's just like, to finish school at this time in history with the current state of everything, it's kind of like, I don't know, did I just waste 4 years while the world was slowly falling apart, Um, and now I'm finishing, and it seems like things are about to escalate. I don't know, but whatever. The article I see here from last week is titled "Americans Are Losing Faith in College Education." Wall Street Journal poll finds that confidence and value of a degree plummeted among women and senior citizens during pandemic. Okay, I did not see that subtitle there before, but yeah. Majority of Americans don't think a college degree is worth the cost. And so that's exciting, to read that as you're finishing college. But, I never, when I went to college, I wasn't really planning on getting into debt. I think that's the difference here. Um, People, if you go the traditional route and go to a huge school, whatever, you're paying like stupid sums of money. Like, I don't know. I've heard friends paying like 50 grand a year. That's something that I never thought of doing and never would recommend. I mean, that just sounds ridiculous. I don't think that, obviously, if you're doing it that way, college is for sure not worth it, unless you're going to be a doctor or whatever. Um, But you know who is winning from this all situation? Who is um, gaining an advantage while all these other colleges are getting a disadvantage? Because I think in the next, 4, 5, 10 years, we'll see a reverse trend. Less people are going to go to college, and more people are going to do other stuff or whatever. I do think we're going to see that trend, and big colleges are going to kind of miss out. I know it's been a downhill trend, I believe, in application since the pandemic, because everyone realized, hey, we can do class online, whatever, and but yeah, so and a lot of this college stuff, it's like such a business. It's like a money machine. A lot of these big colleges, like, you have to live on campus your first year, and that costs an X amount of dollars. It's a lot more. But I'm going to tell you who is winning in all of this, right? It's the colleges that provide a good education at a decent price. Like me, I don't have, student debt. Like, I'm not graduating with hundreds of thousands of dollars, in debt, in college debt. And so that's one thing that I'm grateful for. Uh, my school that I went to, I think, and I'll talk about it. Obviously, I've been saying this, but whenever I do graduate, I'll talk about it more. And I feel like, with my experience and the school that I went to, it's very good value for the money that you're paying. And my whole thing going into school was, I don't know if I'm going to use the degree, but I definitely don't want to be in debt. You know what I mean? I don't know why it's such a popular thing for people just to go away for 4 years, spend 200, 300 grand, and you spend the rest of your life trying to get out of that. I wanted to go on the other, I wanted to be on the other end of that. And instead of leaving college with 100 grand in debt, I wanted to have stacked up, 100K, which I'm not very close to that. But anyway, man, these headphones are great. Um, but yeah, so universities that are providing a good education at a good price where people don't have to go into debt, or if you do have to go into debt, it's not hundreds of thousands of dollars. It's like, a couple grand up to like 10K, 20K, maybe even. I mean, 20K is still a lot, but that's such a big difference versus, 200K. It's like an 80% difference. So universities in this next, 3, 4, 5 years, I think they're going to see a growth in numbers, and they're going to see a growth in, attendance of students trying to um, attend their universities. There's always going to be a market for education. I feel like, obviously recently a lot of the stuff is, um, a lot of the messaging and the trends are that people don't want to go to school. And it's obviously very different than it was, 40, 50 years ago. The value of a degree. I think the internet changed a lot of that stuff. But if you are going to go to college, I would not recommend anything where you're going hundreds of thousands of dollars into debt. Like, that's just not smart, in my opinion. I didn't really want to go to college, decided to, but I'm thankful that it was at a place where it wasn't a ridiculous amount of money. There's no way I would have gone. No way I would have gone. And I was close. I was thinking even about transferring, but it's just not worth it, man. And with all of the scholarships available, especially, like, I don't know every state, but in the state of Georgia, we got Hope Scholarship that pays for like 80%. If you had grades in high school, you got Zell Miller that pays for like 90, 95%. All these scholarship opportunities. Like, there's no reason you should be graduating with that. None. Absolutely none. So yeah, that is that. Let's see what else we got. All the stuff happening with oh man. With, I guess, international news with the countries, the BRICS countries, and countries moving away from the dollar, Saudi Arabia moving away from the dollar. I'm very conflicted on all this. Obviously, I don't think it's good in the long run. Um, but I think you hear, um, I guess, different outlooks from different people. Some people are saying like this is such a big deal, and we're going to see a very bad drop off in like U.S. economy and world economy overall, like very quickly. Other people are saying this is not that big of a deal. It's going to be fine. Blah blah blah. So it's like you don't really know what to believe. My consensus is it's definitely not a good thing long term. Um, but I don't know. It's I think most frustrating with these are our politicians inside the U.S. Um, I think it's if I mean, and honestly, I don't even really feel like commenting on this stuff because I'm not very well read on it. But just from surface level of like skimming articles and whatnot, it seems like our politicians are kind of like inadequate. Their priorities are not straight. You know, like oh man, like the heartbreaking situation in Nashville um, last week. I was like just thoughts and prayers to those families affected by it. It's I don't have the words really to to say. It's just heartbreaking and devastating that this happens, and yeah, but for that situation to happen at a Christian school, and then 3 days later, whoever I forget the press secretary's name, and then the president coming out saying that the transgender community is under attack and stuff like that, and then he signed some bill or something, and oh my goodness, I don't get it. I don't get it. It's kind of a joke. It's frustrating. Man, I love America. You know what I mean, and very thankful for this country. And I just wish we had some competency in our leadership. That would be phenomenal. And so yeah, but you know, I see these things and I look at these things, and obviously not encouraged by the current state, current environment, current leadership we have. But then I have to remind myself this is not something I can control. You know what I mean? This is not something that I can have an impact on, and therefore I have to focus on the things that I can control. Um, I had the privilege of speaking and preaching yesterday at my church, Open Heaven, and I said that the message was to run your race. And I believe we all have a thing we are called to do. We all have an area of influence. We all have our area of interest. We all have our community of people that we are surrounded by. And, we can't, unless, of course, you're in politics, then you should be trying to, influence things on a global scale or whatever. But I think we can only control the things that are right in front of us, and that's what we should focus on. Um, I bought like this cool book in Singapore. It's called Stop Reading the News or something. I want to read it. And it just talks about, how terrible the news is and all that and how much of a distraction it is. I haven't read it, so I don't really know exactly what it's about. It's such a weird thing. Life is so much about balance. I feel like, yes, news are terrible, like, and all they do is highlight, the bad events and all that. But I feel like to some extent, you've also got to be informed about certain things, right? You don't want to be completely um, not in the know. But yeah, we just got to keep doing what we're doing. And yeah, that's something I got to tell myself, because I can get discouraged. Like, you just spent 4 years doing college, and you're getting ready to be done. Go into the workforce and just do stuff. And even like with the podcast, right? It's like, why are you trying to do this? You're committed to do this every Monday, and it seems like the world's about to fall apart. But we just gotta keep at it, until it does. Until obviously, from my standpoint, I believe in God, I believe in Jesus, and I believe He's gonna come back one day. Um, and it's like up until that point, I just got to keep doing what He's called me to do, and that should be where my focus is. So if you're listening and watching this, I encourage you to put your focus there as well. Keep doing what God has called you to do, and should be good. I'm definitely curious to see um, how the rest of this year turns out. I guess over the weekend too, they saw the Andrew Tate got released, and Tristan. Um, that was interesting. I guess also the timing of it while they were locked up, all the events that were happening with the bank crisis and the collapse and all that stuff. I was just thinking it would be interesting to get their commentary on that. And it's interesting to see what happens next with them. Just just the way that they spoke, right? They said first they cancel you, then they put you in jail, then they eliminate you. So that would just be very scary. Not scary, but that'd just be kind of like, kind of creepy if that were to happen. So hopefully they, stay safe, and that, if whatever happens. I just remember that happening over the weekend. And yeah, so hopefully they're all good. They're on house arrest, or whatever. But man, it's a crazy times we're living in. I really hope to have my co-host. I've realized this probably since one of the first episodes of the podcast, but the whole goal of the podcast was to have conversations, not to talk to myself, and have not done that yet. But I mean, I'm just committed to keep going. So just bear with me. We will get there. It'll be good. I feel um, very good. I guess speaking of all these things that are going on and are kind of out of, like, obviously my control, as well as, if you're listening, your control as well. One thing I've really also tried to focus on and really commit to is like working out, and I guess trying to keep my mind clear and focused. I thought about this with everything going on, right? Because we live our lives, we try to build our lives, we try to, build businesses, right? We try to be smart with finances, we try to grow the things that we're working on and stuff like that. And I guess specifically when it comes to finances, because for the past couple of years I've been trying to make smart financial moves, investments, whatever, blah blah blah. And with the current state, it's like, okay, what if the money I do have or the investments I do make, what if they all just disappear, right? Or what if they do come out with the CBDC, or what if the dollar's devalued or whatever? And my mindset, I guess, two things. First is, if that does happen, I think we have a lot bigger things to worry about at that point. So I'm not really scared of losing all that. But also, the second thing is, those, especially like money, is something that can be taken from you, right? They can tax the money out of you. The market can crash. The inflation happens, all that stuff. So I feel like, okay, money can disappear. Um, you know, resources can get devalued, right? You have things you're selling, right? That stuff can lose supply and demand, right? Demand goes down. You're not selling anything. Whatever the case may be, economy goes down. The service you provide is no longer, as needed. Blah 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 blah. And all these things they're not in our control. And so for me, what's one thing I've tried to work and focus on is like, my body, my mind, like my inner state. That's something that cannot be taken away from me, right? Like if you get really, really rich, something can happen that can get taken away from you. If your body's healthy, bearing any sicknesses or whatever, if you're in shape, strong, fit, all that stuff, that's something that's like you got with you, you got on you. It's your body. So one thing that's helped is like no matter what, is like I'm trying to just stick to working out, eating good, all that stuff. Just trying to commit to that for the time being, and then of course reading the Word, spending time in prayer, because those two things, like your body, your well, first of all, like the food you eat really affects your brain as well. I'm not going to go into that, but your brain, the way your brain's working, if you're clear in the brain, your body, the way your body feels, the way your body works, if that's healthy, if that's all running smooth, that can't be really taken away from you like by another person. um, and then your spiritual state, right? Like if you're close to God, you're hearing the voice of God, that can't be taken away from you either. And then with that comes peace, so that can't be taken away from you either. And I guess in times of like this chaotic stuff, uncertainty, blah blah, who knows what's going to happen. I try not to. See, the thing is, I'm just curious. Like ever since I was a kid, I've been curious. I just wanted to know things. I wanted to know why things happen. Um, Literally, since as a kid, like my parents would tell stories. They would explain something to me for 10 minutes, and then at the end, I would just ask why. Like my question was always why. So I know I shouldn't be like reading too much into things, because it's a distraction and blah blah. But I'm just so curious. I want to know. I want to know. I want to be up to date. Blah blah. But to kind of combat that, I force myself, continue working out, continue focusing on this, blah, blah, blah. Just focus on the things that can't be taken away from you. And we should be good. So I want to encourage you too, if you're listening, watching, focus on the things you can control. I can't control what the dollar is going to be worth in a year, but I can control on the actions I'm taking today. I can control what I'm thinking. I can control my outlook on it. I can control if I do push-ups, whatever. You know what I mean? So keep at it. It matters what you're doing today. It matters. Um, and yeah, I really hope to get my co-host on here finally, so we can do this. We can make these episodes and have conversations. I think at that point we will begin really promoting it. I think it'll be fun. And yeah, I really don't have much to talk about today. Let's see if there's anything new. Of course, some stuff happened over in Russia over the weekend. The Wall Street Journal journalist got arrested. There was that Russian like blogger or whatever. That's crazy how they snuck a bomb and whatever into his restaurant and presentation. It's like a movie type of situation, I feel like. He was very, like, I think, pro-Russia, very against Ukraine. I think it's like the second attack or some second like assassination they did on some Russian leader. I don't know. I'm not really paying much attention. to them. I just hope that everything gets sorted out and stopped, man. It's crazy how it's all playing out still. But yeah, man. I think I'm gonna call it an episode for here. Still doing what we're doing. Y'all have a great week. Risk it for the biscuit. Keep going at it. Whatever you're doing today. Let's go UConn tonight. Gonna win 5th national championship, no big deal. Start a dynasty, no big deal. So yeah, okay, all right. That is it. Peace.